Inside Dior, the house that defined feminine power. Every woman has felt, at some point in her life, that she needed to be strong enough to carry everything, and at the same time delicate enough not to bother anyone. It's a cruel paradox, almost a test that no one can explain, but everyone experiences it. And perhaps that's why the story of Dior still resonates so much with the female imagination. It's proof that real power doesn't come from shouting. It comes from presence, from the silent way a woman enters a room and, without saying a word, changes everything around her. While many brands tried to define what a woman should be, Dior did the opposite. It allowed women to discover who they already were. And this is deeply counterintuitive, almost controversial, because it reveals a truth that few dare to admit. Femininity never needed fixing. It only needed to be recognized. And when Dior gave curves back to the world, it also gave back an idea that was forbidden at the time, that softness is a form of power, a power that disturbs, transforms, and inspires. In this video, you'll enter the secret corridors of the Maison Dior, understand how a shy man helped millions of women embrace their own strength, and discover why this story continues to shape how the world views femininity. But before we continue, let me ask you something important. If you love fashion, history, and exciting narratives that reveal hidden truths, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications, because what you're going to learn today has the power to change the way you see yourself. The birth of a revolutionary idea. Christian Dior always believed that true feminine strength lies in the details that the world seems to ignore. When the war ended and Europe stumbled amidst ruins and hopes, he perceived something that many did not see. Women needed not only clothes, but emotional rescue. It was as if they all carried on their shoulders the weight of a forced silence. He saw this in the markets, in the cafes, in the way they moved, quick, restrained, too pragmatic for those who always carried poetry in their gaze. It was there that the idea was born to give them back not only beauty, but purpose. He understood that fashion was not frivolous, but rather psychology applied to the body. A dress could change posture, posture changed perception, and perception redefined identity. Dior learned this by observing his own mother, always delicate and at the same time firm, like someone guarding the secrets of the earth. He said that the world needed to relearn to admire the feminine, and that this would only be possible if someone had the courage to create something that reflected what women truly were: strong, elegant, resilient. Each of his sketches was almost a silent plea for them to feel alive again. The curious thing is that this vision didn't come from books or art schools, but from the intimate experience of someone who knew fear, bankruptcy, and loss. Before achieving success, Dior knew that when life knocks us down, purpose is born. And perhaps that's why his creations carried so much feeling, because they were born from his own pain and hope. He believed that fashion had the power to rekindle the sparkle in a woman's eyes, like lighting a forgotten flame. And it was precisely this flame that, little by little, began to ignite the fashion world, preparing the ground for something no one imagined was about to happen. The new look. The day the silhouette changed the world. When the new look was unveiled in 1947, no one was truly prepared for the impact it would have. The streets still bore the marks of war, and fashion was functional, economical, almost soulless. But Dior dared to restore curves, volume, and presence to the female body, as if to say, "You deserve to occupy space again." Those wide skirts and cinched waists were almost a whisper of freedom. It was a collective shock, but also a relief, like when someone opens a window, after years of breathing trapped air. What's most fascinating is that the new look wasn't just about aesthetics, but an emotional manifesto. Women who previously walked hunched over, accustomed to rationing and rigidity, suddenly found themselves embraced by fabrics that told a different story. It was as if each meter of fabric restored dignity, reminding them that they were more than survivors. They were protagonists. Anyone who looks at photos from that time notices there was a transformation in their gaze, posture, and gestures. And this continues to this day. Simply wear something that flatters you, and your body immediately responds. If someone today wanted to experience the psychological effect of the new look, without necessarily buying haute couture, they could make simple choices. A structured blazer for important meetings, a dress that accentuates the waist when they feel they've lost control of their own narrative, or even learn about colors that boost self-esteem, like the off-white that Dior loved. It's proof that fashion is a tool, not a distant luxury. And that was just the beginning, because the new look didn't just change silhouettes. It gave shape to a new type of woman, one that Dior himself would begin to call a living archetype. The Dior woman, an archetype of elegance and strength. The Dior woman has never been just someone who wears a beautiful piece. She is a living symbol of balance between delicacy and firmness. Christian Dior said that femininity has layers, some soft as petals, others sharp as difficult decisions that no one sees. He observed that strong women didn't need to shout to be noticed. The way they walked, held their bag, or raised their chin was enough. It is this silent set of gestures that makes a Dior woman recognizable even without saying a word. It's as if the body speaks before the voice. This archetype was built from Dior's own perception of the feminine world around him. He grew up seeing women who cared for the home and everyone's emotions while carrying their own pain. And therefore, he decided that his creations would be an emotional armor, soft on the outside, unwavering on the inside. The Dior woman is one who knows that vulnerability is not weakness, it's strategy. She understands that there is immense strength in being sensitive, while simultaneously holding up the world with her own hands. In everyday life, any woman can embody this archetype without necessarily wearing couture. Sometimes it's in the act of choosing a fragrance that reminds her of who she wants to be, like the iconic Miss Dior, or in opting for an accessory that tells her story, like an inherited jewel that carries more emotional than financial value. Small choices build identity. And when a woman understands this, she begins to dress with intention, not out of habit. It is precisely this awareness, this silent power, that will lead to an understanding of what truly transformed each detail created by Dior. The invisible power of details. Christian Dior always believed that details reveal what the world tries to hide. For him, seams weren't just seams. They were poetic scars that told the invisible journey of a woman. Each embroidered petal, each meticulously calculated fold, was a silent reminder that strength and beauty coexist in the same breath. He observed that when a woman wears something designed with meticulous attention to detail, her body responds with greater precision. She smiles differently, walks differently, lives differently. And it is precisely in this invisible quality that true power resides. Dior's superstitions also played a secret role in the construction of each piece. He carried amulets, consulted fortune-telling, and believed that symbols had their own energy. Therefore, it wasn't uncommon to find a clover hidden in the lining, a reference to a favorite flower, or a color that served as spiritual protection. This silent spirituality created an almost magical connection between the garment and the wearer. It wasn't just fashion, it was intention. It was like sewing hope, courage, and self-expression onto the reverse side of the fabric. In everyday life, anyone can practically reclaim this power of details. Simply choose a perfume that tells your story, wear a color that lifts your mood, or carry a symbol that reminds you of who you want to be. It could be an inherited ring, a meaningful bracelet, or even a phrase written on a piece of paper in your bag. Details shape perceptions more than we imagine, and it was precisely this philosophy that allowed Dior to transcend Paris and become a universal language, paving the way for the next chapter of fashion to spread throughout the world. The empire expands: Paris, Hollywood, and the world. When Dior began to transcend the boundaries of Paris, the world realized that something extraordinary was happening. Its creations ceased to be merely part of Parisian fashion and became a kind of universal dialect of elegance. In Hollywood, actresses living under the heavy spotlight found in Dior not only glamour, but emotional refuge. Each public appearance in a Dior silhouette seemed like a silent declaration of power. And the more the empire grew, the more women around the world identified with this narrative. The brand became a kind of ambassador for modern femininity. It didn't matter if a woman was in Tokyo, New York, or Buenos Aires. Wearing Dior instantly made her resonate with a global ideal of presence and sophistication. It was almost like participating in an invisible sisterhood of women who recognized their own strength. Cinema amplified this spectacularly. Dior began to shape characters, elevate scenes, and immortalize moments that influenced generations. A single appearance on the red carpet was enough to start trends that crossed continents. Today, anyone can experience this feeling of global belonging, even without wearing haute couture. This can be achieved by watching iconic films that have shaped fashion and behavior, such as Sabrina or Funny Face, or by including wardrobe elements that convey lasting elegance, such as a well-tailored trench coat or an accessory that tells a story. The message is simple. Style is a language, and we can all learn to speak more clearly. It was this expansion that opened up space for real women to begin shaping Dior as much as Dior shaped them. The muses who shaped history. Behind every iconic Dior creation, there was always a woman who served as an emotional compass. Christian Dior didn't just seek beautiful models. He sought souls who carried stories, vulnerabilities, and gestures that inspired him. Each muse brought a different kind of strength. There was the elegant one who seemed to converse with her own silence, the daring one who faced the world without blinking, and the sensitive one who carried more depth than words could express. Dior observed these women with almost poetic attention, like someone reading a rare and delicate book. These muses were not just faces, they were invisible pillars of the Dior imagination. Many of them directly influenced entire collections, not because they asked for it, but because they lived in a way that inspired admiration. It was the movement of their hands, the way they buttoned a coat, the way they held a flower that spoke volumes more than long conversations. Dior understood that women inspire fashion precisely because they transform everything they touch, and this constant exchange between creator and muse generated a creative energy so vibrant it seemed almost spiritual. Today, any woman can recognize herself in one of these muses, even if she has never set foot in a Parisian atelier. Just observe your own behavior. What part of yourself makes you feel most alive? The quiet elegance, the courage that appears when everything seems difficult, or the sensitivity that few understand, but which shapes all your choices? The truth is that every woman is a muse to some extent. Some just haven't realized it yet. And it is precisely this awareness that paves the way to understanding how Dior has evolved in the hands of new visionaries. The legacy after Dior, Yves Saint Laurent, and other visionaries. When Christian Dior passed away, the world believed the house would fall silently. But then a shy young man emerged, with a sensitive gaze and a fierce imagination, Yves Saint Laurent. He didn't try to replace Dior. That would be impossible, but decided to continue the dialogue the master had begun. YSL understood that women were changing, that they needed freedom, movement, and authenticity. And, with steady hands and a restless heart, he translated this new reality into fabrics that seemed to breathe along with those who wore them. Under Yves' leadership, Dior ceased to be merely a symbol of classic elegance and became a showcase of feminine modernity. Tailored suits gained boldness, dresses gained fluidity, and the feminine spirit gained even more prominence. Visionaries who came after, such as Marc Bohan, Gianfranco Ferré, John Galliano, and Raf Simons, each in their own way, continued to expand the brand's identity. Some brought theatrical extravagance, others minimalist serenity. But they all had something in common: the desire to protect the essence of Dior while rewriting the future. This succession of brilliant minds teaches something essential to anyone. Legacy isn't about copying the past, but evolving it. It's like when someone takes on a family project, a company, a dream, not to repeat what has already been done, but to continue the flame that was started long ago. And while Dior grew hand in hand with so many creators, the feminine world was also changing. Women no longer just wanted to be admired, they wanted to be understood. And this new way of existing opened space for Dior's contemporary phase, where power and authenticity meet in a single voice. The new era: contemporary femininity and authentic power. In the contemporary era, Dior realized that a woman's strength lies not only in the image she projects, but in the story she carries. Women today live between multiple worlds: professionals, mothers, leaders, dreamers, all at the same time. And fashion has had to keep pace with this complexity. Modern Dior understands that power isn't shouted, it's sustained. That's why the brand sought to translate this new femininity into pieces that embrace movement, thought, and identity, without asking women to choose between being strong or being sensitive. With creative direction from names like Maria Grazia Chiuri, Dior began to raise important flags, not just dressing women, but listening to their voices. The shows began to carry messages about freedom, equality, education, and autonomy. Fabrics gained more fluidity, shoes more stability, and the aesthetic began to reflect not only beauty, but purpose. It was as if Dior were saying, "You can be anything, and you don't need to apologize for it." This change was not only aesthetic, but also cultural, affecting how many women see themselves daily. Any woman, even far from Paris, can embody this new Dior energy. Sometimes this happens when she decides to wear something that truly represents who she is, and not what others expect her to be. It could be a bold lipstick for a difficult day, a comfortable look for a tense meeting, or even the courage to say no when the world tries to push more responsibilities than she can handle. The spirit of the new Dior lies in this conscious choice of self, and it is precisely this awakening that leads us to a deeper understanding of what makes Dior an incomparable house. What makes Dior, Dior? What makes Dior, Dior is not just haute couture, but the indescribable feeling that accompanies each creation. It's that almost spiritual sense of belonging that arises when a woman wears something that seems to speak to her own soul. Dior doesn't deliver garments, it delivers emotions molded into fabric. And that's rare. That's why even those who have never worn the brand recognize it at first glance. There's an invisible signature that cannot be copied. This something extra is born from the sum of intentions, symbols, and stories that have accompanied the brand since the first sketch. Dior speaks to women intimately, as if it understands their struggles, their dreams, their shadows, and their light. The brand doesn't just dress the body, it dresses the inner narrative of the wearer. That's why so many women describe the feeling of wearing Dior as if they are embracing a fuller version of themselves. It's wearing courage, grace, and meaning, all at the same time. Even without owning a piece from the brand, anyone can experience this concept in their daily life. It's the act of choosing something that represents you, of honoring your history, of allowing yourself beauty even on difficult days. It's the decision to walk with more intention, to treat yourself as a work in progress. The essence of Dior is about inner power, not labels. And when someone understands this, they realize that the true impact of the brand goes far beyond the catwalks, preparing the ground for a profound reflection on the power that lives within each woman. Final reflection. The power that lives within every woman. Dior's true legacy lies not in its runway shows, campaigns, or even the dresses that have become timeless icons. It lies in the reminder that every woman carries within her a silent strength that the world often tries to diminish. Dior always believed that fashion should reveal this inner light, not hide it. When a woman understands this, she stops trying to fit into other people's molds and begins to wear her own story. And it is at that moment that she discovers a freedom that no one can take away. This power is not arrogant. It is not noisy. It is not aggressive. It is a power that is born from self-knowledge, from the courage to be who you are, from the delicacy that transforms into firmness when necessary. Dior said that the deepest beauty is that which reveals intention, and the intention of a fulfilled woman is always powerful. Sometimes this power emerges in small choices: a perfume that awakens memories, a piece of clothing that conveys confidence, a gesture that reaffirms boundaries. Every detail is a reminder that she is the protagonist of her own narrative. And when a woman recognizes her worth, she begins to walk with a posture that changes the environment around her. It's not the dress that makes her powerful, it's she who gives meaning to the dress. Dior simply translates into fabric what already existed within her. This understanding transforms not only the way she dresses, but the way she sees herself. And it is precisely at this point of inner discovery that the next step of our journey begins. Now that you've walked behind the scenes at Dior, it's impossible to deny. Female empowerment has never been something given to a woman. It's something that has always been there, waiting to be claimed. The question is, what are you going to do with this power now? Will you continue to dim your own light to fit into spaces that don't value you? Or will you use that silent strength to redesign your own story? Because, in the end, each of us has an inner new look ready to be revealed. Think carefully. When was the last time you truly valued yourself? When was the last time you chose something, an outfit, a decision, a path, not to please others, but to honor yourself? Perhaps this is the moment to reclaim what you've been neglecting. Your voice, your presence, your style, your courage. Dior teaches us that small details transform worlds. So what will be your first detail? A firmer attitude? A more conscious choice? A version of yourself that you've postponed for too long? If this story resonated with you, let me know in the comments which part of Dior's journey inspired you the most. I want to hear your perspective, your story, your power. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and join me in learning every week about fashion, self-confidence, history, and everything that empowers women from the inside out. I can't wait to see you in the next video, because this journey is just beginning.